Hungry Trilobyte podcast would like to start by acknowledging these fine conventions. SoonerCon, Oklahoma's longest-running pop culture convention, is ready to return in 2023. SoonerCon 31 will be held in Norman, Oklahoma on June 30th through July 2nd, 2023. Gaming, cosplay, autographs, and an art auction await. Visit SoonerCon.com for more details. The Hellmouth Convention, where fandoms bleed together. Evoking the center of the mystical convergence, our event includes fandoms and travelers from all over the world. Like the Hellmouth itself, things gravitate toward it that you might not find elsewhere. The celebration is scheduled for June 9th through 11th, 2023 in Los Angeles, California. Go to thehellmouth.org to plan your visit. On mic today, we have Chuy coming on back there with his good friend, Arlyn Adriana. How you doing today?
What up,
I'm
bro?
doing good. How about yourself?
Doing great. So glad to have you both on here. I've been listening to some of your music, Arlyn. I really dig it. You have a gorgeous voice.
Thank you.
So I have to think it's got to be tough to get your start as a musician these days.
Yes, it's very hard. Especially since I'm barely starting. You know, it's barely my first single that I made. So it's really hard, but I'm willing to put in the work because
That's
I
what
love
it's
music.
all about.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, no matter what you do, whether you're writing, whether you're singing, trying to create film or video games, it is a grind, and people do not get that.
Yeah, it is. People think it's easy, but it's not. It's a long way.
I can't tell you how many people I've seen start a podcast and they ask me all sorts of questions about, how to get started. And then like 3 weeks later, they come back and say, hey, I started my podcast 2 weeks ago. Why am I not rich yet? It doesn't work that way.
I know. You gotta work hard for it.
Fact.
Me and Chuy were just talking about that yesterday. You know, it's gonna take time. It just doesn't come like that, like fast. And
Arlyn don't give up. She's like, if I don't get famous, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. She has that drive.
You have a vision.
Well, it's not just about like being famous, it's just like working, doing what you like. And, I love singing and I love music. I just want to like do what I want to do in life, with like just work in something I like.
So when did it grab you? When did you decide this was something that meant enough to you were going to take this path?
Well, since I was a child, ever since I was a child, I started singing. I love music. I think it all started when I watched the Selena movie. I would watch it when I was a little kid, and I just started loving music and singing. And my mom would buy me like her CDs, or she would buy me like a karaoke system, and I started singing. I just been singing all my life, but this is like the time that I took it like more serious. And I officially made a single for it.
And Selena's definitely a great choice there, because I mean, she had a wonderful voice, but
Yes.
There's something about her presence that was almost haunting.
She was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
She had the moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the moves, and she was nice and humbled, and she had a lot of talent.
And I mean, we all know it. We never got to see the rest of it, but we just feel like we're haunted by what could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's a part of that chapter is something you could write instead.
Yes, that would be my dream would be to, become international, and not just with Spanish, just English music, all type of genres.
So you don't feel the need to like stick to one particular genre or style, because you seem to have a pretty good range.
Yeah, I actually like all the styles and all the genres. So I just don't want to stick to just one, I just want to make different type of genres.
So should
Chuy?
I was gonna say you should hear her sing gangster rap music, bro. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No. Oh my God.
Well, you don't know till you try, to be fair.
Exactly. I might try it later on.
Tupac.
Oh my God.
So Chuy, you and I, when we got together, we spent a lot of time talking about you're really into horror. We talked about the geek stuff we get into. How did you and Arlyn start working together?
So pretty much, I met her through a mutual friend. I used to live with a homie, and we'd hang out and party and stuff, and go out to eat and stuff. And me and her got along real well. We got close really fast and became best friends. And she would, sing karaoke and stuff. She always wanted to sing. And she's like, I'm like, hey, you ever thought about like recording, like doing covers, just recording, having your stuff out there and put on YouTube or something? And I'm like, I got this equipment, I have a podcast, I have a mic, and, I could record you. So she's like, yeah. And so she would come over and, I'd put the beat and she would record covers and stuff. And we'd save them and, put it here on YouTube here and there. And so that's how it started there. But then I met a mutual friend through Steve Joyner, shout out Steve. That's how we met, So I met, Anthony Quinones, Boricua Posse, and he was looking for a female artist to help him out. And so I introduced him to Arlyn. I'm like, yo, I got the perfect girl for you. She's Mexican, but she loves reggaeton and just down his alley, And so he actually, shout out to Boricua Posse, he actually, helped out Arlyn make her first song. He was one of the people that helped a lot just to get us started, to get her started.
Sweet. I mean, that's the amazing thing now is that the tools that we put this together with, the microphone I'm seeing in front of you there, these things are so relatively inexpensive that the technology is powerful enough that all you have to do is put in the effort and you can get some great results.
Facts.
And Arlyn,
yes, and honestly, I'll go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Honestly, this whole part is Chuy is a big part of this, because I met a lot of people. Like you said, I met Anthony, and then we also met other people here in Tucson. We met a friend that has a recording studio, and they have been helping out a lot as well. So shout out to Johnny Arson and Casio Abri.
I find it interesting that you made such a hit at karaoke, not because you don't have a lot of talent, but because people like me who don't have a lot of talent enjoy karaoke like crazy.
Right.
I can't sing whatsoever, but I have a good time. And a lot of times singers will be down on the experience just because of that, anybody who has a couple drinks in them will go to get up and do it. It's like, no, some good people actually will do it too.
Yes, it's a very fun experience. Me and Chuy go all the time to karaoke. We go out for drinks and do karaoke at several places. So it's still really fun. I even have Chuy do karaoke as well. He doesn't sing.
I can see that.
I'll be that guy. Aaron. I either sing that song Tequila or Gangster's Paradise.
Well, tequila is great because there's only 2 words.
Yeah,
it's like just one word and it's twice.
I'm like, no pressure. Don't mess this up. Don't mess it up.
There was one time I just completely destroyed my voice one night. I mean, I could feel my throat literally bleeding after singing so much. And I had one more slot to go that evening before I quit. And the DJ, because there was nobody else there, is like, you can do whatever you want. And so I just said, pick a song you couldn't possibly pull off that is so far from what you could do, it'll just be funny. So I picked For Your Eyes Only by Sheena Easton, which is like a song that is so high that like Celine Dion would look at that and say, damn, no way. Okay. And I swear to you, it must have just been because my throat was torn up. I got up there and completely nailed it. Oh, wow. It was perfect, and I could never repeat it. It will never happen again. But sometimes that magic just happens.
It just happens. The right
so you guys just hit the pubs now and then and just hit these kind of spots?
Yeah, we actually have a friend. We have like 2 friends that do karaoke at different bars. So sometimes we hit them up or we just show up over there and, just have a good time.
But when it comes to maybe strategizing where you want to take your singing and what audiences you want to get in front of, is that something you have a path on that? Do you have some local spots that you're hitting in the area?
For right now, my only plan is just to continue and make more music. Like I said, I'm gonna make up all types of genre. I'm thinking maybe my next single maybe it would be like an English song. So that's really just my plan for right now. Just putting my music out there and have people listen to it and get to know me. And then in the meantime, also perform at different different type of shows, events here in our city. Just in the meantime, just see what happens later, if maybe I get known or someone sees my music, and just that's pretty much it for right now.
She actually sang at her first show recently.
Last
here at the
Thursday,
Rock.
right? Yeah.
And you couldn't even tell it was her first performance, bro. She fucking rocked it. Like, she was born for this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Because this is where my head goes right away. Have you thought of doing like music for independent films?
Yeah, that could possibly. Yeah, I would like to do that.
Because that would be like that's accessible. They usually need decent talent, and that's where I see a lot of indie films fail. Is they try to skimp on the music because they think they can't afford somebody great, but sometimes somebody who's willing to just put in a little, call it a gift, or that could be a good way to do it.
Smart.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
But I just like indie film in general, so I'm a little bit biased. Is there a certain what was your first experience like going to a concert?
To a concert, like performing, or well, I was really nervous. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like the adrenaline and just feeling nervous. But once I get on stage, I forget about everything. And like Chuy said, it doesn't seem like I was nervous because I forget about everything. Once the music starts, I just completely like shut down.
And that's where I was going with that, is that Chuy was just saying that you couldn't tell it was your first experience. You couldn't tell that you hadn't done that. You hit it and you knew the moves, you knew the steps to make, and you just hit that mindset.
Yeah, and I actually just had a second show last Thursday for the Day of the Dead. I was still nervous. I'm always going to be nervous, going to a show, but like I said, once the music starts, I forget about everything and just perform.
That's something
tequila.
And yeah, tequila. Shout out tequila before.
Just one.
Just one, yeah.
That's something I hear a lot of people say, and I'd like to bring this out to almost anybody, is that they think that stage fright goes away at some point, and for some people it does. But for the vast majority of performers I've talked to, they're like, no, you still get a minute or two of it every time, even if you've been doing it for 20 years. It's still, you have that moment where you're like, oh, wow.
Exactly. I feel like I'm going to be nervous all the time.
And
but it goes away. It just lasts like a minute and then just goes away.
Mm-hmm. You learn to accept it and maybe even drive a little bit of inertia from it.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of convincing yourself that you did fine the last 78 times you went on that stage. This one's not going to be the difference.
Exactly.
For real.
What kind of tequila you drink?
I'm more into Don Julio.
Good.
Yeah.
She's bougie. The good stuff.
No, I just like to drink tequila before, just to like warm up and, for my voice.
Kind of soothe the tube a little bit there.
Yeah.
I will take it when I'm having a chronic cough, especially if I have allergies, because sometimes it kind of numbs things, and sometimes I want to be numb in other ways, and that helps that too.
It heals the internal wounds.
Or if you want to have a good time, just pick a few shots.
Absolutely. I will I'll just pour a nice glass and sip on it instead of doing individual shots. That way I just kind of don't have to keep going back. And the only time I've ever regretted it was when I want to drink Jose. I don't do Jose anymore.
Jose Cuervo?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No. And Chuy makes me drink that all the time. It's so strong.
Dude, I thought you liked this girl. Come on, man.
but it's the silver one. You know, it's
The silver.
better.
Are you talking about the gold one?
Yeah.
Or oh yeah, I tried that one too. I'm like,
No. That my Patron is kind of my go-to. It's like it's not the best, but it's like it's everywhere. Everybody has it.
I used to like Patron a lot. I mean, I still do, but I started drinking Don Julio, and oh my god, it's just really good. It's just way smoother.
Mm-hmm. I recently found one called Villa One, which I don't find everywhere, and that's been pretty tasty.
I never heard of that one, but was it good?
It was good, and I wasn't expecting much because it wasn't like super expensive, but it was different. So I
was
gave it
it
a shot.
silver or?
It was a gold.
A gold. Oh.
Mm-hmm. I usually don't tend for the darker ones if I have a choice. But I'm not trying to turn this into a booze cast, but sometimes.
Hey, we're getting to know each other, man. It's you know.
I mean, we talked about snacks before. I don't know if you showed up with any of those.
Or he's like, I got some right here. I'm just kidding.
No, not yet. I'm just having water for now.
Fair enough. But there are some casts where people will just like, you have to have two beers before you even start. And while I'm not opposed to that, I don't want people to feel obligated to that because that sets a bad precedent for some types of audiences.
Yeah.
I just want people to come on, have a good time, and feel like they can just talk about what means a lot to them.
Sometimes I'll have Arlyn on, and I call these segments Friday Night Funkery.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's off from my usual show, right? Like it's not an interview or, a certain topic. Like we'll just have Arlyn and certain friends on, and we're drinking, and it gets pretty wild sometimes.
And bet. And because those friends might have had a few in them before they even showed up.
Facts.
Yeah, I think they did.
Like we were talking, Chuy and you and I were talking about getting together at an event at some point and finding a nice pub and having a dinner. And it's like, once that conversation gets rolling, and that's the best thing about those kinds of get-togethers is that you just want to sit down there and pick the other person's brain.
Yes. Chuy does that a lot.
You can't help it.
Like, I mean, you talk so much about horror movies and podcasting and sci-fi, and then I turned out you're a music scout as well, or scout talent, whatever term you want to use there. Had no idea.
Yeah, it's just just go with the flow, man.
It's what it's all about these days. Because you have to have a talent stack of things that you can be good at, apply that to other things, maybe help some people out.
It's teamwork, you know what I mean? You make some make some connections, some relationships and networking, and you can go a long way with a team. You can do it by yourself, but you have a team, you help each other out. Some people are better at this, some people are better at marketing, some people are better at talking, and you all help each other out, man, and you build each other up. And on a side note, Arlyn also loves horror movies.
Yes, I love horror movies. I think that's why we're best friends.
Fair enough.
We watch horror movies all the time.
Yes.
So
I love horror and thriller.
Do you have a one that you kind of gleamed on as being the one that you two dig the most, maybe as a deep cut that your friends don't necessarily get?
Not necessarily. I don't have a favorite one, but there is this movie that just came out this year that's one of my favorites for now. It's called Barbarian. Chuy also enjoyed that movie. It had a really good story.
It's really good.
So what grabbed you about that?
Well, it's just different than other horror movies. It has like a different story. It has like a plot twist.
Yeah,
I don't want to say too much about it, so I don't spoil it for some.
I mean, I probably won't see it anytime soon, so you wouldn't be spoiling it for me, but somebody in the audience who I know have a lot of our horror fans listening, I don't want to do that to them. I'm not in the business of giving out spoilers.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of my friends will be like, for example, there's that movie that you get and your friend gets and everybody else says you're crazy about it. Super Mario Brothers, great example. I love it, and like 3 of my friends do, and everybody else thinks that we're all nuts.
I never seen it, but I saw there's a trailer for a new one coming out.
Yeah, that's going to be the good one.
Yeah, it looks really good.
The actual Mario one.
Yeah. I'm talking about the one from way back when with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Yeah. My boyfriend told me about it because we went to the movies and we saw the trailer, and then he's like, "Did you know there's already another movie already, like from before?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know." He's like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It is cool. I would always just say you have to kind of forget it's a Mario movie and just pretend it's a sci-fi movie.
True. Cyberpunk-ish.
And
Have you seen it, Chuy?
Yeah. I seen it as a kid. I'm old, Arlene.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
But I'm just saying that you have those moments where you make a connection with somebody on the weird stuff, and you and Chuy are both the types of people who like the deep cuts.
Yes.
Like I told Chuy that one of the few horror movies I really liked a lot and have seen multiple times is the original Halloween, and his eyes got like dinner plates.
Oh yes.
Bro, look, I got them tattooed on my
with
hand.
the white one, right? With the white mask and like the very, very first mask.
Like 78 or something like that. I don't know my years on those.
I love Halloween movies.
The William Shatner mask painted white.
Is that the one you showed me that they just like painted it white?
Yep. I was telling her about that recently, that they had a low budget. So for that movie, they got a William Shatner mask painted white and messed up his hair.
And one has to ask if that was the only mask they had handy, or if somebody made a creative choice. It's like, should we go with Frankenstein or Shatner? We're going to go with Shatner.
For real.
It worked. I mean, the effect was pretty profound, and you don't necessarily know it's a Shatner mask unless you really are looking for it, because it wasn't that good of a mask, honestly.
Yeah. If somebody don't tell you, like, you can't really tell, you can't see it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I think that mask is the best, and then also was it the 2007 with Rob Zombie movies? That mask was also good.
Haven't seen
that.
I
love that movie too. I like that movie a lot.
I hear a lot of people, horror fans, don't care for that one. It's very divisive. Am I right on that?
I like it because it just explains more. I think when he was a child, and I like it. Not the second one though. The second one he made, no, they completely changed the story.
Okay.
Yeah. People either love it or hate it. You're right.
Yeah.
Because he did, like Arlene said, he took a different take on it. He kind of went into depth a little bit more of like the childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people love it, some people hate it. There's no in between with that movie.
Okay, I'm going to throw this question at both of you here, because a lot of times when I like horror, I like it because I don't quite know what's going on, and I can back this up. But you saying you like this because they explain so much. Do you think that's consistent with what you like in horror movies, or is this just this one movie that makes you feel that way?
For me, I think it was just this one movie because it explained how, because there's always that psycho killer, there's always that question between nurture and nature, and this shows kind of both, right? Like, he was fucked up as a kid, but his family was fucked up too. Like, they kind of created this monster. Like, he was already there, but like they brought this monster to life.
Arlene, what do you say?
I would say the same because, it's Michael Myers. Like, who doesn't want to know more about him? Like, how he started killing and, how he got like that. Cool. So that's what I really like, that it really explained everything. Like, through the whole process, from the childhood all the way until, he was Michael Myers. And
like, the example I was thinking of in the back of my head was the Heath Ledger version of Joker from Dark Knight, which granted is not strictly a horror movie per se. Yeah. But what I found fascinating was that was a version of the Joker where he had no backstory. They deliberately took that away from him. Every time he talked about how he came to be, he gave a different story that contradicted each other. So he really could be the guy next door. And that's what I found terrifying.
Yeah, you're right.
So you find it more terrifying when you don't know like the backstory, you don't know exactly.
When you realize that they're deliberately making this guy somebody who could literally be next to you and you don't know it, and yet he's a psychopathic killer, and you have to wonder who next to me is also a psychopathic killer that I don't know about. I'm not even scared of the Joker anymore. I'm scared of the guy that I don't know about. And in the world we have today, you're always wondering, man, situational awareness is definitely a thing.
That's very, very true. That's very true.
So that's just my example there. And I'm not generally a guy who watches movies to be scared, but when one does it for me, I dig it.
What's a movie that scared you, like that terrified you?
Nice.
Oh, that's a good one. Like that genuinely. I'm going to pick there were a couple I watched back in the 2000s that definitely got under my skin there. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. It was a vampire movie. It was oh man, I can't remember the name of it now, but it did get under my skin. There's Chuy, were we talking about a Nosferatu movie when we got together last time?
Yes, the old school vampire. Yes.
Yeah. There was a movie, and this didn't scare me, but it creeped me out, and I'm going to run with that. There was a movie that was a mockumentary on the making of Nosferatu. That was really cool. The idea was they told the story of what would happen if the guy that played Count Orlok actually was a vampire, and they didn't want the filming crew to know about it. So this dude is running around like trying to kill the crew while they're filming the movie, and the producer's like the only one who actually knows about it. He's trying to keep them under wraps. It was exceptionally good. But it was also creepy because the dude had that look of like, no, he's actually a vampire. If it was trying to hide, that's what he would look like.
I definitely got to watch that.
I'm going to go ahead and just look it up now because I feel like I've brought this up on the show before, and I should put it in the show notes. So, but yeah, I mean, and as for getting under my skin, tragic movies tend to get under my skin a lot because I just get this feeling of like being forlorn that this stuff can actually happen.
Yeah.
Real life.
Yeah, true to life stuff. And yeah, I'm definitely more of a sci-fi fantasy guy for that reason.
As a kid, that movie The Fly scared the shit out of me.
The Fly?
Yeah. Okay. So gross.
If we're talking being kids here, the remake of The Blob from like 1987 completely traumatized me. I wouldn't count it now because if I saw it again, really wouldn't be a big deal. But at like 6 years old, scarred me.
I was really scared of Jeepers Creepers when I was a kid. The first one. Have you seen Jeepers Creepers? Oh my god, yeah. It was just really creepy.
When the bodies are sewn up on the wall.
Yes.
Would you guys into the Human Centipede?
I saw it. But nope.
But no, okay.
Yeah, no. When I saw that movie, I was like, oh my god. Like,
the most diehard horror fans I know were just noping out of that one. And I was like, why is this the step too far?
Oh no. Have you seen all of them?
No, I haven't seen any of them. I was quite happy to read the back of the box and put it on the shelf.
Like, no. I think I only seen the first and second, but yeah, they were kind of like, I don't know, they were just kind of disturbing to me.
Fun fact, the second one, they had to make it in black and white because of the rating. So it was gory up to the point where they said, okay, there's too much blood and gore and grossness, and you guys have to take it off or do something about it. So they made the movie black and white to leave those scenes in there.
Really?
Fair.
Is that why?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I dig it. I just found the movie that I was looking for called Shadow of the Vampire from 2000. Okay. I've got to look this one up again because I remember really thinking it was fun.
I need to watch it.
We have to check that out.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, we could have a movie night or something.
Yes.
You just find some horror movie that you don't think I would dig and just force me to watch it and say, hey, man, this is why this is cool. And I'll be like, all right. Get a pizza, we'll call it good.
I say we all do that, find a movie that one of us might be that haven't seen, and then we'll watch it.
Because
yes,
sharing his experiences, I find it fun to share something I really like with somebody else,
and then see their reaction to it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Especially something that maybe you've seen like 30 times and you know what's coming and you want to get that idea of what it's like to go through it the very first time again.
No, chasing that first high.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you're not wrong. I mean, it's like you only get to know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father once. Once that reveal is gone, it's gone. Spoilers.
40 years later.
Okay, but seriously, guys, Arlene, I see that you've been on Chuy's show. I'm going to put that and your music and YouTube videos in the show notes of this episode on my website, aaronbostic.com. I'm going to put in anything else I can get there so people can follow your adventures on the web and follow your career. Are there social media links you'd like me to drop in there or a website?
Yeah, I can send you a few links.
Okay, please do. And I'll make sure all that's put in there.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll also include links to Chuy's show too, and his previous episode, and we'll just kind of make a running list of times we talk to each other.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Hell
awesome. Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you both so much for being here. I've had a great time, and I'm looking forward to listening to more of your music.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I had a really great time as well.
Likewise. Have yourselves a great weekend.
Thank you
Aaron.
as well.